The darkness lasted exactly 3 seconds. Adaeze counted them like heartbeats. When the emergency generators kicked in, bathing everything in a sickly red light, she found herself pressed against the wall with Jae-hyun's body shielding hers, his breath hot against her ear. "Don't move," he whispered, and she felt the coiled tension in every line of his body, a predator ready to strike. "And whatever happens, don't trust him. That's my brother." No. His hand found hers in the darkness, squeezing once. "He's not." David, or whoever he was, laughed, the sound echoing off the panic room walls. "Still protecting her, even now? How romantic. Though I suppose that's what made you perfect for this role, Jae-hyun. The man who feels nothing, suddenly desperate to feel everything." "Who are you?" Adaeze's voice came out stronger than she felt. "I'm hurt, sister. Don't you recognize me?" He stepped over the grandfather's body like it was debris, and in the emergency lighting, his features seemed to shift and blur. "Though I suppose the surgery was quite good. Dr. Kim Chun is an artist with a scalpel. Made me look exactly like the brother you remember." The world tilted. Adaeze felt Jae-hyun's arms tighten around her as her knees threatened to buckle. "Where is David? Where is my real brother?" "Safe. For now. Consider him collateral. Insurance that you'll both do exactly as I say." He checked his watch with theatrical casualness. "You have about 6 hours before the real David needs his next insulin shot. Shame about his diabetes, really. Makes him so vulnerable." "You bastard." Jae-hyun started forward, but froze when the gun swung toward Adaeze. Let's not get dramatic. We have business to discuss." The man wearing David's face gestured to the monitors, showing the carnage outside. "Your grandfather's men have been neutralized. My team now controls the building. And in approximately 10 minutes, the Korean National Police will arrive to find the heir to the Park Empire standing over his grandfather's body, covered in blood, with a traumatized wife who will testify to whatever I tell her to." Adaeze would never. Wouldn't she? When her real brother's life hangs in the balance, when she learns the full truth about what your family did to hers. He pulled out a tablet, swiping to a video. "Should we watch together? Family movie night." The screen showed a younger version of Jae-hyun's grandfather in what looked like a medical facility. The timestamp was from 5 years ago. Adaeze watched in growing horror as the old man discussed shipments, numbers, and prices, not for drugs or weapons, but for organs, hearts, kidneys, lungs, and the suppliers. "Nigerian medical students," she whispered, her hand going to her mouth. "They were using Nigerian medical students. Your brother's best friend was one of them," the fake David said conversationally. "Disappeared during a cultural exchange program with Seoul National University. Your father figured it out, tried to expose it, and suddenly found himself framed for embezzlement. Your family's destruction was just collateral damage in the Park Empire's cover-up." Adaeze pulled away from Jae-hyun, needing space, needing air. "Did you know?" The silence stretched too long. "Did you?" "No." "Not about the students," he said quietly. "I knew about the organ harvesting, but I thought it was from willing sellers, people desperate for money. I shut it down the moment I took control of the company. I swear to you, Adaeze, I didn't know about. But you knew your grandfather was capable of it. You knew what kind of monster he was. And you still called him here tonight. To save you, to save your possession." The words ripped out of her, raw and bleeding. "That's all I've ever been to you, isn't it? Another acquisition. Another thing to control." "That's not." "Lovers quarrel already?" The fake David interrupted, amused. "And here I thought you two were falling in love. That's what my surveillance suggested. Anyway, the way you look at each other when you think no one's watching. The tension that could set Seoul on fire. Tell me, have you fucked her yet, Jae-hyun? Or are you still pretending this is just business?" "Watch your mouth." Jae-hyun's voice was lethal. "Or what? You'll kill me? Go ahead. Your wife's brother dies with me. The location of his insulin. The proof of your family's crimes. Everything goes public. You'll lose everything, your company, your freedom, your precious Adaeze." "What do you want?" Adaeze asked, wrapping her arms around herself. Justice. Revenge. The complete annihilation of the Park Empire. He smiled with David's face, and it was obscene. But I'm not unreasonable. I'll give you a chance to minimize the damage. Play along with my story for police. Help me dismantle Park Industries from the inside, and I'll ensure you both survive this. Refuse and... He shrugged. Well, Korea hasn't had a good Chable murder-suicide in years. The media will feast for months. The sound of sirens grew closer. Time was running out. We need a minute, Jae-hyun said. You have 2. The fake David stepped outside the panic room. Though his shadow remained visible through the doorway, Jae-hyun immediately pulled Adaeze to the corner, his hands cupping her face. Listen to me. There's a way out of this, but you have to trust me. Trust you? She laughed bitterly. I don't even know you. You know me. His thumb traced her cheekbone, and she hated how her body still responded to his touch. You know the man who flew back from Busan because he felt you were in danger. You know the man who kissed you like you were oxygen, and he'd been drowning his whole life. You know me, Adaeze. I know the heir to a criminal empire built on blood. Yes, that too. He pressed his forehead to hers, and she could feel him trembling. But I'm also the man who loves you. Desperately, foolishly, completely. Jae-hyun, we don't have time for lies or pretense. So here's the truth. Everything he said is probably real. My family has done unforgivable things. I've benefited from blood money my entire life. I don't deserve you. I don't deserve your forgiveness or your trust. His hand slid down to her neck, thumbs resting on her pulse points. But I will burn down the world to keep you safe. I will destroy my own empire if it means you walk away from this alive. And if you give me a chance, just one chance, I will spend whatever time we have left proving that what's between us is the only real thing in this entire mess. The sirens were right outside now. She could hear car doors slamming, voices shouting in Korean. 1 minute. The fake David called. Adaeze looked at Jae-hyun, this beautiful, terrible, complicated man who'd upended her entire world in less than 3 weeks. She thought about the contract that brought them together, the threats that forced them closer, the violence that revealed their truth, and she made a decision that would haunt her forever. Kiss me, she whispered. What? Kiss me like the world's ending, like the police are about to break down that door, like we might never get another chance. He didn't need to be asked twice. His mouth crashed into hers with desperate hunger, and she responded with equal fervor. This wasn't the gentle exploration of their first kiss or the desperate gratitude of earlier. This was raw need, sharp as glass and twice as dangerous. His hands tangled in her hair, hers clawed at his shoulders, and they kissed like they were trying to crawl inside each other's skin. When they broke apart, both gasping, she saw her own wild desire reflected in his eyes. Whatever happens next, she breathed against his mouth. That was real. Time's up. The fake David reappeared, and behind him came the sound of heavy boots on marble. Decision time. What's it going to be? Adaeze straightened her clothes, wiped the blood from her hands. When had that gotten there? And walked toward their tormentor with her head high. We'll cooperate, but I want proof of life for my brother first. Smart girl. He pulled out his phone, showing a video of the real David, unconscious but breathing, hooked to medical monitors. Satisfied. For now. The police burst and then, weapons drawn, shouting in Korean. Adaeze let herself collapse, playing the traumatized wife to perfection. Jae-hyun raised his hands, his expression carefully blank as officers surrounded him. And the fake David? He pointed at Jae-hyun with a shaking hand and spoke in perfect Korean, his voice breaking with fabricated emotion. He killed his grandfather. I saw everything. He's lost his mind. For hours later, Seoul Metropolitan Police Station. Adaeze sat in the interrogation room, a blanket around her shoulders and a cup of cold tea in front of her. She'd been questioned 3 times, each detective more skeptical than the last. Her story never wavered. She'd been in the panic room when everything happened. She heard gunshots. When she came out, the grandfather was dead and her brother was holding Jae-hyun at gunpoint, claiming he'd witnessed the murder. Mrs. Park. Detective Kim said for the fourth time, his English heavily accented but clear. Your husband's grandfather was shot with a 9mm Glock. Your husband owns a 9mm Glock. His fingerprints are on the gun. Anyone could have used his gun. The angle of the shot suggests someone of your husband's height, or someone else of similar height. Your brother says he saw everything. My brother is traumatized. He just witnessed a violent death. The detective sighed, rubbing his eyes. Mrs. Park, I'm trying to help you. If your husband threatened you, forced you to lie. My husband has never forced me to do anything. The truth of it burned. Even this marriage, this contract that started everything, had been her choice in the end. A knock on the door interrupted them. Another officer entered, whispering urgently in Korean. Detective Kim's expression shifted from frustrated to shocked. It seems you have a visitor, Mrs. Park. Your lawyer. I didn't call a lawyer. No, but someone did. The door opened, and a woman walked in who made every molecule of air in the room reorganize itself around her presence. She was maybe 35, devastatingly beautiful in a way that required excellent genetics and excessive money, dressed in a black suit that probably cost more than most people's cars. Gentlemen, she said in perfect English, though her Korean accent was deliberately prominent. I'm Park Min-seo. I represent the Park family interests. My client will not be answering any more questions. This is a murder investigation. This is a witch hunt. She set a tablet on the table, swiping to display security footage. This video, from the building's backup servers, shows a team of men entering the Park penthouse before the supposed murder. These men have been identified as members of the Hwang crime syndicate. My client's husband was defending his home and his wife from a coordinated attack. The death of Park Sr. was a tragedy, but not a murder. Detective Kim studied the footage. This doesn't explain the brother's testimony. The brother who appeared at exactly the right moment? The brother who somehow accessed a secured building during a lockdown? The brother who has no record of entering Korea until 3 days ago, despite claims of being here for weeks. Min-seo smiled, sharp as a blade. I think you'll find his testimony questionable. Are you suggesting? I'm suggesting nothing. I'm stating facts. Now, unless you're charging my client with something, we're leaving. We're not done. Yes, you are. She helped Adaeze stand, her grip surprisingly strong. Don't worry, detective. The Park family wants justice for our patriarch as much as you do. We'll conduct our own investigation. She guided Adaeze out of the interrogation room, through the chaos of the police station, and into a waiting Bentley. Only when the doors closed and the car started moving did she speak again. You can drop the act now. Adaeze blinked. I'm sorry. The traumatized wife routine. I know exactly what you are, Mrs. Park. Min-seo studied her with dark, calculating eyes. You're the woman who brought Jae-hyun to his knees in less than 3 weeks. The woman who made him feel when the rest of us couldn't even make him blink. Who are you, really? I told you. I represent Park family interests. She paused. I also happen to be Jae-hyun's cousin, the one groomed to take over if he proved unsuitable. And now that his grandfather is dead, now everything changes. Min-seo pulled out a cigarette, lighting it despite the no-smoking sign in the car. The old man was the only thing keeping the traditionalists in check. Without him, the family will tear itself apart. Unless what? Unless Jae-hyun proves he's strong enough to hold them together. Which brings us to you. She exhaled smoke like a dragon. You're the key to all of this, aren't you? His weakness and his strength. The thing that makes him vulnerable and the thing that makes him vicious. I don't know what you're talking about. Min-seo laughed, rich and dark. Oh, darling, I've been watching you both for weeks. The way he looks at you like you're his personal religion. The way you fight your attraction like it's a disease. It would be romantic if it wasn't so dangerous. Where is he? Where is Jae-hyun? Being processed. He'll be released on bail within the hour. The Park lawyers are very good, but that's not the real problem. She tapped ash into a crystal tray. The real problem is the war that's about to start. The Hwang syndicate smells blood. The other families are circling. And your mysterious brother is evidence that could destroy everything. He's not my brother. No, he's not. Min Seo's smile was approving. You figured that out quickly. The real question is, who is he working for, and what do they really want? The car stopped outside a building Adaeze didn't recognize, not the damaged penthouse. Somewhere new. Min Seo led her inside, up to an apartment that was all shadows and expensive minimalism. You'll stay here tonight. It's secure. I need to find my real brother. Already being handled. We have people looking. Min Seo poured 2 glasses of whiskey, handing one to Adaeze. What you need to do is decide. Decide what? Whether you're going to run or fight. She sipped her drink elegantly. Because those are your only options now. Either you abandon Jae-hyun and disappear. We can make that happen, new identity, new life, enough money to keep you comfortable, or you embrace what you've married into and help us win this war. Why would you give me the option to run? Because I'm practical. A reluctant queen is worse than no queen at all. And make no mistake, that's what you'd be. Jae-hyun's queen in an empire built on blood. Min Seo studied her. But I don't think you'll run. No, because you're already in love with him. And women in love do stupid, dangerous things. Before Adaeze could respond, the door opened. Jae-hyun walked in, and the sight of him stole her breath. His white shirt was stained with blood, his grandfather's blood. His perfect hair was disheveled. He looked exhausted, dangerous, and absolutely magnetic. His eyes found hers immediately, dark and desperate. Adaeze! She was across the room before she made the conscious decision to move, crashing into his arms. He caught her, lifted her, and suddenly her legs were wrapped around his waist and his mouth was on hers, hungry and demanding. Well, Min Seo said dryly, I'll leave you two to reunite. Try not to destroy the furniture. It's expensive. She left, but neither of them noticed. They were too busy trying to devour each other, hands desperate, mouths hungry, bodies pressed together like they were trying to merge into one being. I thought I lost you. Jae-hyun gasped against her throat. When they took you for questioning, I thought, I'm here. She yanked his shirt open, buttons scattering. I'm right here. He carried her to the couch, laying her down with surprising gentleness before covering her body with his. His mouth traced a path down her throat, and she arched beneath him, her hands tangling in his hair. We shouldn't, he breathed against her collarbone. You've been through too much. Stop talking. She pulled his mouth back to hers. For once in your controlled, calculated life, stop thinking and just feel. He groaned into her mouth, his control snapping. His hands were everywhere. Her hair, her waist, her thighs. She responded with equal fervor, nails raking down his back, teeth nipping at his jaw. They kissed like they were dying, like they were drowning, like the world was ending and this was their last chance to feel alive. His hand slid under her shirt, palm hot against her skin, and she gasped at the contact. Everything was sensation. His weight on her, his scent surrounding her, his mouth doing wicked things to her neck. Adaeze! He breathed her name like a prayer. My beautiful, brilliant Adaeze. Yours, she agreed, then bit his ear. And you're mine. Yes. He pulled back to look at her, and his eyes were wild. Completely, irrevocably, insanely yours. She traced his face with her fingers, the sharp line of his jaw, the bruise forming on his cheek, the cut on his lip. We're going to destroy each other, aren't we? Probably. He caught her hand, pressing kisses to her palm. But what a beautiful destruction it will be. She pulled him back down, losing herself in the heat of his mouth, the weight of his body, the feeling of finally giving in to what had been building between them since that first meeting in Lagos. Her shirt disappeared somewhere, his pants were halfway off, and she was about to cross a line they couldn't come back from when his phone rang. Ignore it, she gasped. I am. He kissed her deeper. It rang again, and again, and again. With a curse in Korean that she was beginning to understand, he answered it. What? He listened, his expression shifting from annoyed to alert. You're sure? How long ago? He was already standing, pulling his clothes back together. Don't engage. I'm on my way. What's wrong? Adaeze sat up, pulling her shirt back on. They found him. The fake David. He's at Seoul National Hospital. The hospital? Why would he? Her blood went cold. My brother, the real David. He's diabetic. He's using him as bait. Jae-hyun was already moving toward the door. Stay here. Min S.C.O. will. If you think I'm staying behind while my brother's life is in danger, you don't know me at all. Adaeze, it's a trap. I don't care. He'll use you against me, and I'll use you against him. She stood, square her shoulders. We're stronger together than apart. You said it yourself. I'm the key to all of this. So use me. He stared at her for a long moment. This woman who kept surprising him, who matched him in ways he'd never imagined possible. You're going to be the death of me, he said finally. Probably. But what a beautiful death it will be. Despite everything, he smiled. Throwing my words back at me. Someone needs to remind you that you're human, not ice. He crossed back to her, kissing her hard and fast. You make me feel more human than I've ever been. That's the problem. No, she said against his mouth. That's the solution. Seoul National Hospital Emergency Ward. The hospital at night was a different world. Fluorescent lights creating harsh shadows. The antiseptic smell sharper somehow. The sounds of suffering more pronounced. Adaeze had spent countless hours in hospitals, but never as a potential victim. They entered through the loading dock, Jae-hyun's security team flanking them. Min S.C.O. had appeared from nowhere, now dressed in tactical gear that made her look even more dangerous. He's in the old wing, she reported, the one scheduled for demolition. He has at least 6 men with him, and... She paused. He definitely has your brother. David's alive? For now, but he's using him as leverage. He wants you both to come alone, or he starts removing organs. And given the setting, I don't think he's bluffing. We go. Adaeze said immediately. It's a trap, Min S.C.O. protested. Everything's been a trap since I landed in Seoul. Adaeze looked at Jae-hyun. But we keep surviving them. Barely, he muttered, but he was already removing his jacket. Checking the gun Min S.C.O. handed him. If this goes bad. When has anything in our relationship gone well? Adaeze asked dryly. Fair point. They made their way through the hospital's maze-like corridors. Adaeze knew these types of buildings, understood their logic, their flow, which is why she noticed the anomaly immediately. Stop, she whispered. Jae-hyun froze instantly. What? The air's moving wrong. Hospitals have specific ventilation patterns, but there's a cross breeze here that shouldn't exist. Meaning someone's opened windows or doors that should be sealed. He's creating multiple entry and exit points. Clever, a voice said from the shadows. The fake David stepped out, still wearing her brother's face, but moving nothing like him. The doctor notices what others miss. No wonder Jae-hyun's so taken with you. Where's my brother? Close. Come with me and you'll see him. They followed him deeper into the abandoned wing. The walls here were stripped bare, medical equipment covered in sheets like ghosts. Moonlight streamed through broken windows, creating a chessboard of light and shadow. Finally, they reached what had once been an operating theater. In the center, on a gurney, lay David, the real David. He was unconscious, hooked to and for, but breathing. Standing around him were 6 men in surgical masks, though Adaeze doubted any of them were doctors. Here's how this works, the fake David said. You're going to sign over control of Park Industries to a holdings company I represent. You're going to confess to your grandfather's murder. Self-defense, of course, very sympathetic. And then you're going to disappear. Both of you. Or, Jae-hyun asked, or I start with the brother's kidney, then his liver, then his heart, all while his sister watches. You're insane, Adaeze breathed. No, I'm thorough. Your husband's family destroyed mine with their organ harvesting ring. It seems poetic to return the favor. Who are you really? Jae-hyun demanded. Who sent you? The man smiled with David's face. Does it matter? I'm everyone you've wronged, every family you've destroyed, every life you've ruined. I'm consequences. Finally come calling. He pulled out a tablet, displaying documents. Sign, or watch him die. Adaeze started forward, but Jae-hyun caught her arm. Wait! We don't have time. There's always time. He studied the room with calculating eyes. You made one mistake. Oh, you brought us to a hospital. Her territory. He looked at Adaeze. Tell me, doctor, what do you see? She forced herself to think clinically, to observe rather than panic. And then she saw it. The surgical equipment, old but functional. The defibrillator in the corner, it's charging light green. The oxygen tanks along the wall. The sprinkler system overhead, probably still functional. I see opportunities, she said slowly. So do I? What happened next was beautiful in its violence. Jae-hyun moved first, the gun appearing in his hand like magic. But he didn't shoot the fake David. He shot the sprinkler system. Water exploded from overhead, drenching everyone. Adaeze was already moving, grabbing the defibrillator, charging it to maximum. Everyone away from the gurney, she shouted in Korean. Thank God for those language lessons. The fake David's men hesitated, confused. That hesitation was fatal. She pressed the paddles to the wet floor and discharged them. Electricity coursed through the water, and everyone except her and Jae-hyun, both wearing rubber-soled shoes, convulsed and collapsed. The fake David had managed to jump onto a dry equipment table, but now he was trapped, surrounded by electrified water. Clever, he admitted, but your brother's still. Adaeze was already at the gurney, checking David's vitals. The rubber wheels had insulated him from the shock. He's fine, sedated but fine. This isn't over, the fake David snarled. Yes, it is. Min Seo appeared in the doorway with a full tactical team. The building surrounded. Your men throughout the hospital have been neutralized, and we have some interesting footage from the Seoul airport of you meeting with Hwang Jin-ho 3 days ago. The fake David's face went pale. You can't prove. We can prove everything, Jae-hyun said coldly, including the surgery to make you look like David. Dr. Kim Chin is already in custody and very eager to cooperate. You think you've won? The man laughed bitterly. You have no idea what's coming. The other families know you're weak now. They know the old man is dead. They'll come for you, and your pretty wife won't be enough to save you. We'll see, Jae-hyun said. Then to Min Seo, get him out of here. As the tactical team moved in, the fake David locked eyes with Adaeze. Ask him about the scar on your brother's friend. Ask him what really happened to the medical students. Ask him why he really chose you. Then he was gone, dragged away, and Adaeze was left with too many questions and a growing dread in her stomach. 2 hours later, private medical facility. David was stable. Transferred to a secure medical facility that Min Seo assured them was completely safe. Adaeze sat by his bedside, holding his hand, while Jae-hyun stood guard by the door. He'll wake up soon, the doctor assured them. The sedatives are wearing off. When they were alone, Adaeze finally asked a question burning in her throat. What did he mean? About choosing me? Jae-hyun was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, your brother's friend, Samuel, he wasn't random. Her blood went cold. What do you mean? He was investigating my grandfather's operation, getting close to exposing everything. So my grandfather removed him, killed him. Worse, sold him to buyers who needed a heart. But before that, he researched Samuel's connections, his friends' families. He turned to look at her, and his expression was devastating. He found you, a brilliant doctor in Nigeria, whose family was financially vulnerable. The perfect leverage. You're saying my father's debt was orchestrated. The embezzlement charges, the bankruptcy, all of it was designed to put your family in a position where they'd accept any help. He moved closer, his voice dropping. But I swear to you I didn't know. Not until after we were married. Not until I started investigating why grandfather approved the match so quickly. Adaeze couldn't breathe. Everything, her father's arrest, her family's destruction, this marriage, it had all been orchestrated by a dead man to cover his crimes. So I was just a pawn. A convenient way to tie up loose ends. No. Jae-hyun knelt beside her chair, taking her free hand. You were supposed to be, but you became something else. Something unexpected. Something that made me question everything I thought I knew about myself. Don't. She pulled her hand away. Don't romanticize this. Your grandfather destroyed my family to cover up murder of my brother's friend, then arranged for you to marry me as what insurance? I don't know what his exact plan was. He's dead now, so we'll never know. But I know what you became to me. He caught her face in his hands, forcing her to meet his eyes. You became everything. My conscience, my heart, my reason to be better than what I was born to be. Pretty words won't fix this. No, but actions might. He pulled out his phone, showing her a document. Effective immediately, Park Industries is liquidating all questionable assets. Every subsidiary with ties to organized crime, sold or shut down. We're going completely legitimate, no matter the cost. That will make you vulnerable. The other families will... Let them come. I'd rather fight clean and lose and continue profiting from blood. Your board will revolt. Probably, but I have something they don't expect. He smiled, dark and dangerous. A wife who can electrocute 6 men with hospital equipment and look beautiful doing it. Despite everything, Adaeze felt her lips twitch. That was pure improvisation. That was magnificent. His thumb traced her cheekbone. You were magnificent. Are magnificent. Jae-hyun, I know you hate me right now. I know finding out about Samuel, about the orchestration, it changes everything. But I need you to know that what I feel for you, what's between us, that's real. It's the only real thing in this entire facade. Before she could respond, David stirred. His eyes fluttered open, focusing slowly. Ada! His voice was weak, but really his. I'm here, she said, squeezing his hand. You're safe. They said Dad's dead. It's handled. Everything's handled. David's eyes moved to Jae-hyun. You're him, the husband. Yes. They told me things. About your family. About what they did. All true, Jae-hyun said simply. David studied him for a long moment, then looked at his sister. But you love him anyway. It wasn't a question. Adaeze didn't know how to answer. It's okay, David said softly. Samuel used to say the heart doesn't care about logic. It wants what it wants. His eyes grew heavy again. Just be careful, Ada. Both of you. They said more people are coming. They said this was just the beginning. He drifted back to sleep, but his words hung in the air like a prophecy. 1 week later, new penthouse. They'd moved into a new penthouse. The old one was too damaged and held too many ghosts. This one was different, warmer somehow, with touches of color that the old place had lacked. Adaeze had insisted on it, and Jae-hyun had acquiesced to every demand. They moved around each other carefully now, the explosive passion of that night in Minasio's apartment replaced by careful distance. They'd shared a bed once, purely for appearances when the insurance investigators came, but otherwise maintained separate rooms. The fake David, whose real name turned out to be Chin-woo, a mercenary hired by the Hwang Syndicate, was in custody, but his warning haunted them. More people were coming. The war wasn't over. You can't keep avoiding me, Jae-hyun said over breakfast, the first real words they exchanged in days. I'm not avoiding you. We live together. We exist in the same space. That's not the same thing. She set down her coffee cup with excessive precision. What do you want from me, Jae-hyun? Forgiveness? Understanding? To pretend I didn't find out our entire relationship was orchestrated by a dead psychopath. I want honesty. Fine. Honestly, I'm terrified. Not of you, but of how I feel about you despite everything. I should hate you. Your family destroyed mine, used us as pawns, got Samuel killed. But when I look at you, all I feel is... She stopped, shaking her head. What do you feel? Like I'm falling off a cliff and hoping you'll catch me, even though you're the one who pushed me. He stood, moving around the table to her. I'll always catch you. Even if catching me destroys you, especially then. She looked up at him. This beautiful, dangerous man who become her entire world in just weeks. This is insane. Everything about us has been insane from the beginning. Your board meets tomorrow. They'll try to remove you. Let them try. The other families are circling. Min Seo says the Huangs are mobilizing. We'll handle it. How can you be so calm? He pulled her to her feet, hands gentle on her arms. Because I have you, even if you hate me, even if you leave me. Just knowing you exist makes me brave enough to face anything. I don't hate you, she whispered. No, I hate that I don't hate you. It would be so much simpler if I did. Nothing about us has ever been simple. No, she agreed, and then she was kissing him, all her careful distance evaporating in an instant. He responded immediately, desperately, like he'd been starving for her touch. His hands tangled in her hair. Hers clutched his shoulders, and they kissed with all the pent-up longing of their enforced separation. Adaeze, he breathed against her mouth. My beautiful, brilliant Adaeze. Stop talking, she commanded, pulling him toward the bedroom. We can regret this later. They stumbled through the doorway, hands desperate, mouths hungry. Her shirt disappeared as followed, and they fell onto the bed in a tangle of limbs and desire. Are you sure? He asked, pulling back to look at her. No, she said honestly, but I'm tired of being careful. I'm tired of calculating every move. Just this once, I want to feel without thinking. He kissed her deeply, passionately, with all the emotion he usually kept locked away. She responded with equal fervor, pouring all her confusion and desire and fear into the kiss. They moved together like they'd been doing this for years, every touch electric, every kiss desperate. His mouth traced patterns on her skin that felt like promises. Her nails left marks on his back that looked like claims. They were writing their story on each other's bodies, a tale of desire and destruction that neither could resist. I love you, he gasped against her throat. God help me. I love you so much it terrifies me. I know, she breathed, arching beneath him. I know, and that terrifies me too. They were on the precipice of something irreversible when her phone rang. Not just rang, blared with the emergency tone she'd set for David. They froze, breathing hard, staring at each other. I have to. Answer it, Jae-hyun said, already pulling away. She grabbed the phone with shaking hands. David. But it wasn't David's voice that answered. It was mechanical, disguised. Mrs. Park. Or should I say, Dr. Okonkwo? Such a beautiful morning for revelations, don't you think? Who is this? Someone who knows the truth about your marriage. The real truth. Not what Jae-hyun told you, not what you piece together, but the complete picture. I'm listening. Your husband isn't who you think he is. Park Jae-hyun died 3 years ago in a car accident. The man you're in bed with, yes, we're watching, is someone else entirely. Someone with a very particular set of skills and a very specific mission. The phone slipped from her numb fingers. She looked at Jae-hyun, who'd gone absolutely still. What are they saying? He asked. They're saying... She could barely form the words. They're saying you're not Park Jae-hyun. They're saying the real Jae-hyun died 3 years ago. His face went through several expressions, shock, calculation, and finally, something that looked horribly like guilt. Jae-hyun. Her voice was small, terrified. Tell me they're lying. The silence stretched between them like a chasm. I can explain, he said finally. And with those 3 words, Adaeze's world shattered all over again. The man she'd married, the man she'd been falling in love with, the man currently half-naked in her bed. Who the hell was he really? The phone rang again, and this time when she answered, the mechanical voice said something that made her blood freeze. Look outside, doctor. Your real husband just arrived, and he's very eager to meet you. She turned to the window, and there, stepping out a black Mercedes, was a man who looked exactly like Jae-hyun. Same face, same build, same devastating beauty. But his eyes were completely different. Cold, dead, the eyes of a true Park heir. Hello, wife. The real Park Jae-hyun, said through the phone, looking up at their window with a smile that promised violence. "I think it's time we properly met. Don't you?" Just when you think you found the truth in a world of deception, the entire world shatters all over again. Sometimes the war you think you're winning is just the first battle, and the man you're falling for is the biggest secret of all. If you're on the edge of your seat waiting to find out who Adee's husband really is, make sure you like this video and subscribe for part 3. Drop a comment and tell me what moment had your heart pounding. Was it Adee's turning the hospital into her own weaponized territory? The arrival of the formidable Min-seo? Or that final jaw-dropping cliffhanger with the two Jae-hyuns? Your comments fuel this roller coaster, and I am reading every single one. Hit that notification bell, because the real war is just beginning, and Adeeze is trapped between the man she fell for and the man whose name he stole. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the explosive next chapter.